All right, everybody. Address the Sess. Yeah, I know I did this 2 weeks ago, and we had a special guest, a controversial special guest. He won't be joining us this time. We put him back in the water. So no worries there. My apologies to those who are looking forward to seeing him again. I love the character. I gotta be honest. So a lot's been happening this week. Gamescom. Microsoft kind of had a press conference. Sony had a very big press conference. EA had a press conference. People are doing things in Germany. So there's stuff to talk about there. But also, I was definitely want to talk about 3 smaller games that I played in about the past week, and I have not been so happy with video games in a long time as I have been with these titles. But let's say hello to Nick. Hello, Nick.
Hi.
Hello. And do you want to go ahead and bring in our first guest? Yeah. Ready there, Nick?
Yes.
There we go.
Awesome. Here's Andrew Garner, our first guest.
Andrew, I know you.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Unmute yourself. Up there in the special place.
How about this?
Andrew, if I'm not mistaken, you are 420 Helsing?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes. I thank you so much. It's a pleasure to actually meet you. You have been, and I'll point this out to everybody else. This man is so active and friendly on Twitter and retweeting stuff that it is a pleasure to actually get to meet you in the person.
You're welcome, sir. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And you're up in Canada, but I can't remember exactly where.
I'm not in Canada at all.
Oh, I thought you were. No.
No.
Another gentleman who is kind of your doppelganger, Chris from Montreal. I have yet to meet. My apologies. My apologies.
That's fine. I'm actually from Tennessee.
Oh, that's like Canada, but in a different place.
Yeah, weird country, Canada, but sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, how long have you been into games and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely since I was a teenager, obviously.
Okay, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. What games are you playing as this teenager?
Anything I could rent with my allowance.
Was it NES, Super Nintendo, or?
Yeah, NES and Super NES and games like that, Game Boy, just basically anything I can get my hands on, except for a Sega. I didn't have one.
Yeah, I didn't either. I actually had a friend when the original Nintendo came out. He got the Sega Master System. And it was always that kind of awkward relationship where we realized not too many months afterwards that I had made the right choice, and he was still kind of adamant to prove to me. But I would always go over to his place to play Fantasy Zone because I loved that game. It was so bizarre and trippy.
Right.
On drugs. What are you playing these days, Andrew?
Battlefield 3, Last of Us, Saints Row 4, basically anything I can get my hands on with the PS Plus.
So like you're not too genre specific. It looks like.
No. If it's fun, I want to play it. That's how I am.
Well,
like
cool.
you said, I'm easy going.
So, are you looking forward to Battlefield 4?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta say, the more I see of it, the more I'm like, I think I might invest some time in this game. It just there's enough fun. If they could stop using words like levolution, like, look, just call it buildings fall apart. You know. Yeah. Shit goes boom. I feel like this idea that we need to come up with this marketing term for something that's just, pretty explicit and demonstrative that's in the game.
That was the same day that Forza brought up Drivatar, right?
Yeah.
This has been a really rough Drivatar. That's their term for like the AI that's built around the way you drive in the game. It's good year for dumb portmanteaus.
That kind of rolls off the tongue. You've taken an existing word and slapped an L in front of it. So, I mean, you can be hooked on phonics or otherwise it'll work.
Yeah, and Drivatar is still weird. It's like, hey, Mom, I'm going to drive a car to the grocery store. What do you need?
Drivatar is just so forced.
Yeah, there's some vowel sounds that don't line up there.
Yeah, and it's just like, hey, we got Drive, and the kids love the Avatar movie. Let's smash them together for Forza.
Drivatar sounds like an android from a Ray Bradbury series.
Yeah, you're right. Like some variant on the Velt. That
I Drivatar instead of iRobot.
Yeah, I've never been too excited by a made-up word in a term. What other games or God forbid consoles are you looking forward to, Andrew?
Most definitely the PS4.
PS4. I mean, it sounds like you were get a PS3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you watch the press conference yesterday?
No, I have not had a chance
All
yet
right.
to watch it on YouTube.
Well, you'll love how the director loves to go to these wide shots where you can't see anything. But we're definitely having a discussion. I thought they showed some absolutely incredible stuff. It was just one of the stranger press conferences I've seen where no one who got on stage seemed all that excited. And I think maybe because there was jet lag and Germans. But I haven't come to the conclusion as to what exactly. There just wasn't that enthusiasm I was expecting. Hey, Andrew, you stay there. We're going to keep your mic open so you can jump in the conversation. But Nick, you want to bring some people in and throw me a question from out there?
Cool. We'll have people joining in shortly. In the meantime, I've got some questions from the Google Plus event page.
Okay.
Let's see. CJ Bautista says, how do you feel about the replacement of Michael Ironside as the voice actor of Sam Fisher in Blacklist?
Okay, I do have feelings. I interviewed the gentleman, and it's up on the site. He's really, really nice and cool, and he's an actor, and there's a neat conversation about this was the first game he's ever done, and that what it was like from his experience being a more traditional actor on screen and stage, trying to come over and do something that's game-oriented. I know there's a lot of outcry about Michael Ironside, and he's got a very, very distinctive voice. But something kind of odd has happened since they decided to remove him. And there seems to be an affection for the legacy of Michael Ironside that kind of runs contrary to the quality of the work. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He just has never really demonstrated that he is as great an actor as the way people are talking about him. Completely. And I find the affinity for him. I actually get the David Hayter one a little bit more because the character of Snake is so particular that voice really is connected to it. I don't see the same thing with Ironside, and I think what people may have to get used to is more and more of this is going to happen. There's not a ton of performance capture in Splinter Cell, so I do find it kind of strange that they needed to get someone who's a little bit, more careful with that kind of the motion stuff. But this is going to happen a lot, where voices, people who are hired for the voice back when that's all you could really bring from an actor, they're now going to look for people that can do the physicality, who like Troy Baker, like Nolan North, who can actually do more of the, acting, because there's going to be more physical expectations of the performance actor because they're no longer a voice actor. I think we gotta get ready and lose more of our babies, I guess.
Yeah. my memory of Ironside and Conviction was a lot of mumbling. A lot of kind of indiscernible muttering for most of that game. I played Conviction with subtitles because Michael Ironside was voicing Sam Fisher.
Yeah, it's just I think sometimes when you take something away, you tend to overvalue it more than it was necessarily worth. Things change. It's just there's so many other great things about Blacklist that if you're hung up on the voice actor, I don't know how much you appreciated the Splinter Cell franchise in the first place. I'm gonna get hate mail for that, aren't I, Nick?
Perhaps.
Yeah. All right, do you want to bring someone in?
Yeah. Let's hear from Nick Angelisi.
Hello there, Nick Angelisi.
Hi, Adam. Been a big fan of yours for a long time.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Where are you reaching us from?
I'm about 20 minutes outside Boston.
Oh, okay. So that's like Boston plus.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
There's a bunch of little towns around Boston.
Yeah. All right. I know.
Most of them end with wood, like Norwood and Westwood and all that jazz.
Evolution Wood.
Yeah. So, Nick, I was going to ask, did you watch the Sony press conference from Gamescom?
I managed to catch the very end of it. I remember seeing at the very end when they cut off, it was actually right after someone asked a question. I believe the question was something about, someone asked that some games are trying to be so cinematic, so movie-like, that they forget that they're games, and then the stream just kind of shut off.
And wait, this was at the Sony press conference? They took questions?
I think there was a Q&A or something. I remember
there may have been. I had to pee so badly at that point that it was kind of all right, it's time, I got to go run, and take care of business.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was exactly the Sony press conference, but I'm pretty sure it was a Q&A panel they were holding.
All right, well, I'm looking for someone who I'm curious to hear other people's reactions to the Sony press conference. But regardless, Nick, what is on your mind?
Kind of a few things. There was something that happened kind of a way back, so I guess this is really off topic, if that's okay.
We don't have a topic, so you can't be off it. So
Okay,
I mean,
so
if you want recommendations for making a sandwich and what cheese to use, I will make my best effort to give you some direction in that. So don't worry about that.
So this happened about a couple months ago. Kind of flew under some people's radars. It was a bit of a thing, but this small group called Lab Zero, they created Skullgirls back when they were Autumn Games. Yeah. They had an Indiegogo campaign to fund their next DLC character that did hugely successful.
Yes.
But there was a lot of talk when it was happening about how much do games actually cost, and a lot of people were like, "What? $175,000 just to make a fighting game character? No, it shouldn't cost that much." And then a lot of people had to start being like, they had to start actually telling people, hey, this is what we're paying for. This is how much all this actually costs. And so it kind of brought to light this whole discussion of how much do video games actually cost, and I'm just kind of wondering, like, what's your opinion? Do people really need to know this stuff, or is this kind of stuff we can just kind of like ignore or something?
No, that's a really good question, Nick. I think this actually plays into, I don't know if you're aware of the Polygon article that was up last week about kind of the death threats and like the level of gamer hate that has kind of driven some people out.
I heard a lot about it.
It's a very, very good article. My colleague Brian Crescente wrote it. I really enjoyed it. But some of it, and I think I have been discussing this with a couple of people prior to that, but I think there might need to be more transparency, not in every case, but kind of what it means to make a game. I have a fairly good sense, and yeah, if you're thinking for a character, it costs that much, but you have a staff, you have to pay them, you have to keep the lights on, you have to pay for the air, you have to pay for the plumbing. You're keeping an office open with people there, and that's total overhead. You have that money's for the overhead, and not just for the idea that there's one guy that's making a character. And I think a lot of this rage and this anger and this suspicion comes from a real lack of understanding about the process of making a video game, that there's a lot of moving components, a lot of things that go into it, that it's definitely not a linear production model, and it's not a linear product that you're getting out of it. And there's the QA testing. I can't say, does all of that for one character merit 175,000? I don't know. I don't understand the accounting, but I actually think it's far higher than what you think a character. It's not an artist slapping this because they have to balance the character and everything against it. That it plays into. Sometimes I think when we created this level of community between consumers and the game, that there is that issue of ownership that it seems to make, but I think also people don't understand like the difficulty and the challenges that are behind game design. And sometimes, when things are done that aren't making people happy, it may have been because to do it the right way, it was not going to work. It was not going to balance the game, or they couldn't get the game out on time. That a lot of these decisions have to be made. But that's a great example. I completely forgotten about that. I think people will get kind of glazed over if every game developer had to go into that level of detail. But I would love to be able to get some cameras into a development process just to understand kind of the challenges. I think one thing I really have known over all the years I've been doing this, I've always felt somewhat parasitic. I've made a name for myself, and I've done relatively well, really working off of the efforts of many other people that go unrecognized and unnoticed that work at these game studios. And I think a little more insight into the challenges that go into this might bring down the temperature a little bit in the fury and the anger that's out there in the community. I'm probably being a little bit too hopeful, but it might be one of the best answers.
Maybe somebody could do a documentary on Kickstarter.
I've always wanted to do this. Also, because we know that everyone, I think when games are being made, like, hey, we hope to get this out in 2 years. That's 3 years. And it's like, how many times can you throw a camera in there? I've dreamt about this since I started back in the late 90s. And then you start to look at the practical reality of it, and it's very, very challenging. It's almost like you have the same problems of game development if you're going to do a documentary about game development. I think maybe some of the best that can come out of it is an in-house video crew for a developer, but then that's so tied to the marketing of the game that you wouldn't get the warts and all presentation that I think would really be quite enlightening to people. So
this is completely unrelated, but I've got a question that I've seen at least 3 times in the chat. Stug138 and Xcodes are both wondering, Adam, what do you think of Skyrim Online's $15 monthly fee? How do you think that affects the game's prospects for success?
I'm not thrilled by it. I think it's the $60 buy-in plus the fee. You're doing like the World of Warcraft at launch model. That at the very least, maybe a Guild Wars model or the inverse, so that game for free, pay the fee, or buy the game. At the very least, you get a year or something. I know you get a month free. I think they have a tough row to hoe. Now, granted, it is Elder Scrolls. There's a level of trust I have with Bethesda and that property, but still, that's, maybe the only other thought I had is because it's going to be available on consoles, or at least the PS4. Maybe they hope to bring some people in there. I was a little bit shocked to wake up this morning and see that. I'm curious to see how it works. Maybe they can make enough money from the loyal fan base in the beginning, and then they plan to go free to play. But I was a little surprised to see that.
It's weird because that game's been in development since free to play, like since before free to play was a viable MMO model, and it kind of makes me wonder, like,
that's what I just happened.
Yeah.
This was to pay for itself back when you could do the subscription model. It finally came out in the era without subscription, and they're kind of hedging their bets.
Right. It makes me wonder if maybe they just sat around and decided, all right, it's too late to stop the train. The momentum is there. We built this game with this pay model in mind, and to try to reverse it now would uproot too much of what.
I know. I actually think you're right. I think if you were going to do a proper free-to-play model, it's very hard to then convert that to a free-to-play model. But
a lot of people have tried and failed, right? Like City of Heroes tried that.
To do an initial buy-in and then a fee, that just looks really tough. Except for the most hardcore, the hardcore fan base. Hey, Nick, Andrew, either of you play MMOs? Or have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, I play a lot of MMOs. I actually started my MMO career, I guess, with City of Heroes. And that moved on to City of Villains, and then they became one game. And then I've also played Final Fantasy XI. I played the Final Fantasy XIV open beta that past weekend that it was just open. I've been reading into WildStar, so yeah, I've been doing a lot of research on MMOs, and I've played a lot of MMOs, so this does kind of interest me. I'm not really a fan of the still having to force people to do subscriptions. Free-to-play model, I think, I don't think it's the future of every MMO ever, but I think some form of having players kind of just some free-to-play model would be nice.
Sort of choose how much to pay to engage themselves with the game. I mean, I think I probably wouldn't be this kind of shocked by the decision if the older public had not gone up in flames like it did so quickly.
Yeah.
That, for something that was that expensive, that I have to be honest, I thought it was going to be an easy sell. I thought people would actually do the subscription for it. But even when you add the Star Wars license and BioWare on top of it, that was not enough to keep people engaged.
Yeah, I actually played that game in the first month it came out, and I was just overall not very impressed. And then when they switched over to the free-to-play model, and I was like, oh, free-to-play, but then the model was so limiting, and I felt so constricted and suffocated.
I think the one thing that Elder Scrolls Online really has going for it is that the combat is so different from the more traditional MMOs and the big ones. It uses a lot more real time. It plays so much like an Elder Scrolls game that they have a case they can make, but they're going to have to really start making that case, I think, pretty quickly. So,
I think WildStar has
some exclusives.
Oh, sorry.
What's that?
Well, maybe Elder Scrolls will have some exclusives. Maybe they'll give the first 100 people who sign up maybe get some little pet thing, I guess.
Or maybe if they would announce Elder Scrolls 6, that somehow by playing this game and maintaining your subscription, that you get early access to it. Yes, there is a carrot there, not one that I'm expecting to see anytime soon. But they have probably one of the most respected franchises, and they're doing an MMO with it. But like I said, Star Wars and BioWare just sounded like a good sell. I think it all depends on what that first month is like. If the game is incredibly good, they probably have a good case. But I actually liked Old Republic a fair amount, though I didn't see it being that different from what it was more like, I think, MMO 1.5, not MMO 2.0. And if Elder Scrolls can really say, we are different, it's worth your money, hey, it could be a different playing field.
I think WildStar is handling the whole subscription thing in a really interesting way. I don't know if you've been keeping up with WildStar or anything.
For the audience, I mean, like, what's the WildStar model? Excuse me.
The WildStar model, they actually just released it recently. It's been under wraps for a long time, so everyone's been really curious. But what they're doing is they're basically taking this old-fashioned route where you pay $60 for the game and then it's $15 a month. But when you buy the game, you get 1 month free, and when you play the game, you can earn gold, earn all these in-game currency, and then they have this other type of currency called credit. It's like CREDD or something like that.
Because that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
that people can buy.
But with a C.
They should use the K.
Yeah, and K. And it's different. Anyway,
but yeah,
go on.
people who are playing the game can buy cred with real money to sell to other players who are playing the game like nonstop. So like you've got the kids who just don't have a job, so they can play as long as they would like, and they earn all this gold. And then the people who have a job, they have a life, they can't really afford to spend all this time to start farming this gold. So they go and buy cred and they sell it in game for in-game currency. So the people who buy this cred can amass it, and then they can use that to pay for their next month.
Got it. That's interesting. Once again, I think that's something you have to design from the ground up. That's to be a very tough model to insert into something after the fact. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that works going forward.
Yeah, my main concern with it is that I'm kind of wondering, like, just how much time if I were to not pay a subscription, how much time would I have to devote this game, hours per day, to amass the gold I need to buy this credit?
Yeah, I believe I was at a conference a few months back, and those types of players were referred to as grinders. The ones who somehow subvert the free-to-play model because somehow their patience and their time allows them to actually play the game as it's presented to them. Hey, Nick, do you want to bring some other people in?
Yeah, totally. Let's hear from Emmett.
Emmett.
Let me unmute. Oh, hi, guys.
Hey, how are you? Where are you hailing from?
I actually just became a freshman at Valdosta State in Georgia, so here I am in the dorm.
Congratulations. College.
Thank you.
So, I mean, are you like a week in, 2 days in, or?
I'm right in the middle of my second week, so they're going on, and everything's going pretty good so far.
Does it feel different, new, exciting?
Yeah, actually, my question relates to college slightly.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, it is pretty exciting. It is exciting. We'll ask my question because we're forgetting. Now, as I said, I'm already a freshman in college. Now, PS4, Xbox One coming out real soon. I want to know, how long do you think we have for the current generation to die out? Because I'm trying to buy, a PS3 and a Vita as soon as I save up enough money in the next couple months.
You mean
because I just got a job and all that stuff.
I'm just checking. PS3 or PS4?
I'm planning on buying a PS3.
Okay.
Because the one the one I have right now is currently dying, so I need to just get a newer model. And so I'm wondering, how much longer is the current generation going to be supported? Because I don't want to go buying another PS3 when they're like gonna, I don't know, turn off Battlefield 3 servers or something like that. How much longer do you think we have?
In terms of existing games and their servers, that I imagine will stay up for a while. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking at how well the PS2 sold after the PS3 launched. I mean, that was like the #1 selling console for quite some time. I mean, I think that, the Wii was doing very well, and then it was the PS2, or vice versa. Now, that's an interesting question. I haven't considered how long the servers would stay on, because you didn't have that same level of online play in that generation like we have now.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of that decision-making is going to be predicated on how well the new consoles sell. If you're going to start to see a rapidly growing install base on the Xbox One and the PS4, that's going to incentivize them to kind of start cutting their losses and try to gravitate people over. In terms of new content coming out that you would be engaged with, I think that's going to dry up pretty fast. I think since we already can identify games that are only going to be available on the next-gen consoles, I'm thinking of Titanfall, The Division, Witcher. People already say that we're not going to do a broken SKU. I think that's a pretty strong indication that by mid-year next year, and definitely by year's end, in terms of games, I'm thinking that you would be, because like the PS2 started to become sort of a younger person's console, or the Guitar Hero console, or something like that. I think we might see that shift happen.
Well, yeah, the thing is, like, I know that they're probably not going to be releasing games for too much further past the start of the next generation. But, like, the only real reason I'm staying with the PS3 and everything currently is because, A, don't really have too much money to go buying a PS4.
You're a student.
And B, you're correct. And B, there's so many games that I haven't even played yet on PS3. I haven't touched Far Cry 3, Last of Us, Infinite, BioShock, a whole bunch of games from the past years.
I would imagine, I can't speak from authority, maybe I'll get a chance to talk to someone from GameStop on it. Once the next-gen consoles come out, I would like to think that the used games or the digital sales of games that were big this generation will drop significantly. Because
that's great
it's
to
a
hear.
market. So yeah, I would be very surprised if you're going to see stuff being sold close to the MSRP of $60. So yeah, if you're looking at it that way, especially if you want single player, you probably have a nice, healthy library that you'll be able to buy for at least 2-3 years going down the line. Please don't hold me to it, but I feel fairly confident on this one.
Hey, that's great to hear.
That's a great way of thinking about it. Yeah, no.
And especially what the other gentleman here was talking about with PlayStation Plus, that's exactly what I'm on, because I'm already with that, and I'm getting a whole bunch of great old games to play, and so I'm just hoping to milk that for all the value I can get.
Yeah, and hopefully that catalog will only grow, because I think there's some good obscure ones from early this generation that I've forgotten about that I even want to go back and try to rediscover. So, yeah.
Microsoft is gradually trying to roll out their version of that, too. Have you noticed that? They put out Defense Grid and then a Crackdown, the original Crackdown, and then I think just this past week they added Dead Rising 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I have seen that.
No, I mean, I think it's viable. It's just trying to look, loyalty programs are a good idea. You know, that, hey, if you're going to pay the money, can I see some benefit that, be it a reduced price or, something for free? I mean, there's a point where a game like Crackdown, there's so few sales that are going to happen for it in the first place. Why not just give it away for free? And, yeah, I do like Crackdown. That's why I recommend Saints Row 4. It's Crackdown. It's Crackdown 2, the version you wanted to play.
Man, Crackdown is a weird game. Wasn't Crackdown the one that was bundled with the Halo 3 beta, and it sold virtually every copy of that game that went off a store shelf?
We discovered it was a really, really fun game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same deal with the original Infamous. It came with Uncharted 2 beta, and everyone bought it for the Uncharted 2 beta. Ended up being a great game.
I wonder why
it's actually my favorite game.
Was Infamous was so much better than the Uncharted multiplayer. I'm going to say it. I'm going to get more hate now. But yeah.
Okay.
That's probably fair.
I'll agree with 2, but 3 was a really good multiplayer game. But 2, yes, I agree with you.
Oh, see, I even like 3 less than 2.
Ooh, I think it's a gameplay thing, because the fundamental gameplay in 2 and 3 were much different, but I like the additional systems and stuff in 3.
Well, there's something about the animations in 3 that I found to be problematic in the single player that became very problematic in the multiplayer for me. So, and Nick, you want to try to bring someone in? We get a little, hopefully we can find someone that I forgot to even ask you, and then I'll get back to you. Still looking for someone that saw the Sony press conference, or if you played Gone Home Brothers or Papers, Please, because I'm obsessed with these games.
I honestly haven't played any 3 of those games. I've been wanting to, but my PC isn't very advanced, so I can't touch those. But
Papers, Please, you ask fine for your PC. Papers, Please is the one least demanding game. So
it's like a bunch of pixel art, right? Isn't that like a whole bunch of pixels? Okay, then I've actually tried it out.
I played through Gone Home this weekend on a 2010 MacBook Air. I had to turn all the shadows off. I had to play it in 4:3 in a window. It I think I distracted from the atmosphere a little bit.
Yeah, try it again on a different laptop. We'll talk when this is over, Nick.
Cool.
All right, I'll definitely go and try that out.
Let's bring somebody else in.
Yeah, here's a question. We're trying this new Google Hangout question thing. You see this question up here? It's from Alex Magana. He says, Adam, what are your thoughts on Ubisoft and Sony announcing a Watch Dogs film even before the game is released? Do you think this partnership, along with other announcements, demonstrates the strong, almost exclusive relationship the two are developing?
This relationship goes back to the Assassin's Creed movie. They announced last year this insane idea of, so there's going to be an Assassin's Creed movie. Ubisoft has the full rights to say they can cancel the thing after it's been made if they're not happy with it, which indicates only one thing to me, that Ubisoft is bankrolling this, and they're using Sony Pictures as the distributor. No, I think it's a little crazy to decide to make a movie based on a game that has not shown that it's successful yet. Yeah, I think there clearly is a stronger relationship between Sony and Ubisoft as of late, except I did note that Microsoft's press conference from Cologne showed The Division, so maybe they're trying to get some of the Ubi love. I think the whole thing's a little bit nutty. I put it up there with my issue with Disney Infinity was the inclusion of the Lone Ranger. And when I knew it was being included before the Lone Ranger had actually come out, and look, everyone kind of knew that the Lone Ranger was pretty much hell-bent on becoming an absolute bust. And it's just kind of like, cart, horse, let's kind of have them meet each other and get in the right order. It's, if they want to do it fine. And, maybe kind of the weird French particularness about Ubisoft could actually generate a good movie based on a video game. But if you look at the breadth of the storytelling that happens in a game like Assassin's Creed, and I assume is happening in something like Watch Dogs, I'm trying to figure out how that gets condensed to a 2-hour movie that doesn't feel like complete twaddle.
Hackers 2.
Hackers 2? Was there a sequel to Hackers?
No, I'm just saying hypothetical sequel to Hackers 2 with the Watch Dogs movie.
Yeah, John Miller is a good actor, but I think maybe reprising that role, it's like, hey, remember you had hair and you played Sick Boy in Trainspotting? And look, I will speak for myself. I tried to style my hair like that because I thought that character was so awesome. Wow, yeah. Just so you know, everybody, I'm turning 40 next week, so if I start to retreat into a really weird mental space during the course of this, that's what's going on. I'm going to PAX to officially become too old. Yeah, I am now so far out of the age demographic I'm supposed to be appealing to that someone's going to figure it out, and well, we'll see what happens then. All right, Nick, let's bring in a young, fresh face that can make me feel ancient.
Well, this guy is going under the name Twist de Wrist.
Hello. My name's Bo.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Good. Twist de Wrist is my motorcycle. I do motovlogging, so that's kind of my handle.
Oh, you mean like this?
You're right. Then you have the helmet,
not like
the
this,
camera.
Or,
no,
yeah.
no, actual motorcycles, not video games.
Well, that's good. So you have a handle that's actually reflective of something you do in real life.
Yes.
Not assassin with 5 5s in it or something.
It's a handle about
me today, wondering, like, he said that he would watch me more on television if DirecTV carried G4, and I had to politely point out that G4 doesn't exist. So you would think an assassin would know these things. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. I gotta say, I've never actually watched G4.
You know what? That's probably why you're a mentally healthy and fresh-faced young person. Yeah.
If you're just
saying about me then.
Look, guys, we need G4 like we need cholera. Okay, I'll just lay it out there.
Yeah, I was on G4.
I can't
disagree. Say about me too.
Actually, you were just talking about your age. I turned 35 in about 2 months. So
enjoy. Hold on to those.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I remember the commercials for the Atari 2600, so I remember those vividly.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Anyways, I've owned every home console since the NES, minus a couple, the Genesis, the PlayStation 1, but
those are the unimportant ones.
Yeah, I'm not really. Nothing's really excited me about the PS4 or the Xbox One so far. I usually buy a system for its exclusives. That's kind of the way I operate. And,
and obviously they do have exclusives. But
they have, but
you're
nothing.
Not seeing these exclusives.
No, nothing. Nothing that's a day one purchase.
I agree with you. I have yet to see an exclusive from either one. Granted, I saw some really interesting looking and looks like kind of indie style, if not fully independent games that they were showing off the Cologne thing. But in terms of those AAA exclusives, nothing's been floating my boat. And I think there's a valid reason for that, and it's also a valid reason why you might want to wait a year to buy a console. Is why put all the money into, say, Naughty Dog making Uncharted 4 or something new and incredible, and to release it at a time when you're going to have the fewest number of PlayStation 4s in people's homes? That I think that we are going to start to see more of those signature exclusives come next year, and then definitely 1 year after that, when you have an install base and they can really, really make money off of that software.
Exactly.
Because I think very few games do people buy 6 months after release at that top dollar price.
So where I'm at, I bought a Wii U, and actually been pretty happy with it. A lot of people seem to be
So you're
down on
one
it.
of the 160,000 of the past.
Yes. I actually bought it in November last year, so I had it right away.
I did too. I did too.
I built a gaming PC in this winter, so I'm kind of covered on some of the games that are hitting like the Ubisoft, like
I was about to say, if you have a good gaming rig and you have like an NVIDIA 680 or it's like its equivalent on AMD, I don't think that there's a huge case to be made about getting a new console, because as long as you can play the Ubisoft games, you're kind of good.
Pretty much. But the thing is, the problem I'm having is Ubisoft's the only one bringing these games to the Wii U, so they're the only third party really bringing games to the Wii U. So now I have to decide. And there's the thing I really want to talk about was some of the ports that are getting to the Wii U seem to be gimped. They're missing some features. It's kind of a big deal on YouTube. I mean, I follow some Nintendo fans, and it's like I want to support the Ubisoft games on the Wii U to make them hopefully boost sales so that they'll make more games for the Wii U. But at the same time, if the best version's on PC, I'm kind of torn. So.
Paul, I tend to be a little bit even keel when it comes to things, but I'm going to be more direct. Get them on PC.
Yeah.
Don't support Ubisoft. Don't reinforce the idea that you can sell a GIMP version of a game. And you know what the thing is? Sales of these games for the Wii U are not going to really fix that problem. What's going to fix the problem are sales of Wii U's. And that's something that really Nintendo has the control over, and that's going to happen with Nintendo games. I mean, I've obviously blathered a lot about my frustrations.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll reiterate again. I have no problem with the Wii U succeeding. What the Wii U needs to do to succeed is Nintendo to kind of take the crap out of their eyes and realize that, and they've acknowledged it. They have no software for it. They buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo software, balls in their court. At the same time, they're having such bad relations with third parties from the era of the Wii, and I think there's a similar frustration happening again with the Wii U, if not only for the sales and for other reasons, that to be honest, I don't see any time in the near future where a third-party game that's available on the other two consoles or on the PC will see a superior iteration on the Wii U. It's not cost-effective. When you're only selling 160,000 consoles worldwide in 3 months, why would you throw money at something that has such a low install base with no sense of it growing in the future? It's bad business. So PC, I would say go for it all the way.
And then, like another, just real quick, a lot of people are jumping on saying the Wii U doesn't have the install base, but then they're talking the PS4 and Xbox One, whose install base is going to be significantly less for. I mean, what do you think in the first month?
Well, I mean,
2 million?
Sony announced yesterday they already have 1 million pre-orders on the PS4.
Wow.
That's pre-orders. So I don't know if necessarily at launch it will exceed. I cannot remember the existing Nintendo install base.
It's almost
also
4.
That's a sign of momentum. And that's another thing that you may not be able to, because I still think the window, when a console launches, the window for software sales is a lot longer than in the second year. Because people are going to get the console, they want to get a handful of games, you can stimulate some sales. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. Also, Microsoft and Sony are going to really push hard, I believe. We definitely know Microsoft is, on the digital sales. That's a different kind of storefront where you can once again stimulate software sales that doesn't require prominent positioning on the floor of a Best Buy, a GameStop, or a Walmart. So, unfortunately, the way that Nintendo is selling the Wii U, it becomes an apples and oranges type discussion.
Yeah, they're not advertising it at all either, which is just strange. I mean,
and the thing is, they're gonna have a very hard time advertising it at the end of the year because a lot of that advertising space is going to go to Ubisoft, it's going to go to EA, Sony, and Microsoft. There's only so much advertising. It's weird to think about it, even with the internet, but there's still a finite amount of advertising space that's effective.
Exactly.
So, Paul, sorry.
I have a small question.
I feel a little bit bad that I said, like, hey, don't buy anything for this console you have.
But let's say, like, if Watch Dogs wasn't gimped, it had all the features and actually had some unique use of the gamepad. I mean, it may not have the best graphics, but...
Well, I guess the thing is that the Smart Glass application you can get for Sony and Microsoft, I think it's still going to be superior to using the gamepad for it.
I think so.
Just holding that gamepad and holding my iPad, it's just you know.
Actually, I really enjoy the gamepad. Actually, I think it's really an enjoyable controller for me personally.
I mean, there's stuff I like about it. The stuff once again, if Nintendo can just put more games out that really show the opportunities with it, I like. So that's why I'm not completely like poo-pooing it. It's just Nintendo Land is not a strong enough case to be made for the benefits of the gamepad.
Exactly.
So, and I the one thing I still cannot fathom is how the map controls in Pikmin 3. I love Pikmin 3. But the idea that I'm doing this, no.
That definitely wasn't the best use for it, but
yeah, I mean, if they're trying to replicate kind of the experience of using a touchpad, then replicate it. Don't say, hey, but we're going to be different in a really kind of strange, cumbersome way. So,
I like how the characters talk. Like you can just switch it to the gamepad when there's like an update and that voices come through there. I mean, that stuff's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. I think that there's presentational opportunities with the gamepad that I would love to see. Maybe a new Zelda or a new Mario. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Right now, it just seems kind of like novel, but it could become a lot more material down the line. Nick, what do we got out there? Let's ignore all
the
these.
chat is going to crucify me if I don't ask this. Dayano Jackson, James Likes Jam, and Fresh Swiss all want to know, Grand Theft Auto Online was revealed for the first time last week. What do you think about it? Are you excited about what Rockstar is doing with GTA's online mode?
Obviously, we all knew there was an online mode, and I watched the video, and I was like, oh, man, that's kind of cool. I mean, look, right now what it looks to me is there's virtually a second game that's coming with Grand Theft Auto 5. A lot of it, once again, you have to take it on faith, but the idea that there are structured missions and that you have enough kind of tools there to kind of, as a toy box, to come up with your own stuff with your friends, I think there's a lot of potential there. And it looks like where they had dabbled before with GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption, there's something a lot more thoughtful and a lot more robust. I also find it fascinating that's coming out on October 1st. And there's so many different theories, but this might, it's interesting that enjoy the single player first, and then we're gonna be able to get into the online. I'm really excited, and I think I said this earlier on Twitter today. And please, everyone's gonna say it's a first world problem, and I acknowledge this. I only have so much space underneath my TV for game consoles, so I was kind of accepting the fact that I'm gonna pull out my current gens when I get the next gen ones. The Grand Theft Auto Online, if this is what I think it is, that's going to really bungle my plan because I will be playing it on a current gen console. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of how I can sort of keep my wife happy by having everything look aesthetic and clean and behind doors and have enough space for stuff.
It looks very ambitious.
Don't cry for me. It looks really ambitious.
What do you think accounts for that October 1st date? Because it's just like, I think what Rockstar is saying is that they want people to get comfortable with the game first, but I also think if it was any company other than Rockstar who kind of has a lot of benefit of the doubt, we'd be like, that's crazy. Why are you not letting people
I think it's also to really undermine returns of copies of Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's clever.
Because people are going to want to hold on to it to try out the online. And I know that you can get top dollar if you race through a game and try to get it back in the stores within the first week. That kind of it's a very clever way of trying to incentivize used game sales. Obviously, they make the strongest case if it's as good as it looks like it is. So yeah, I'm excited. Yay!
Yeah.
This is Tesla.
I mean, it's.
Oh, who's that?
Oh yeah.
Me.
Is it Emmett? Was that you?
Andrew, I think.
No, that was
With Sony and the PlayStation 4 announcing that Twitch TV is going to do the live streaming, what would you like to see as far as Sony's live streaming policies for the PS4?
That's an interesting question. I would like to see there's no policies. Well, no. I think there has to be some policies for really objectionable content. But I think when it comes to matters of like kind of what games you can show and like that weird flap that came from Nintendo about the live stream of Super Smash Brothers, I bet you Sony, and to be fair, I expect this from Microsoft, for their own properties that they own outright, I don't think you're going to see any restrictions. It then becomes an issue of really what the publishers for other titles think. So for Ubisoft, for 2K, for EA, and stuff like that. I hope that they realize people streaming their games being played only makes people excited about playing that game for themselves. yeah, there's people out there that might be spoiling stuff, and I hope there's some at least policing that warns people ahead of time not to watch something that's going to be spoiled. Or if you haven't played the game yet and you want to play it, don't watch a stream of it. But I hope it's a little laissez-faire, but not to the point where we're going to have some problems of really creepy stuff finding its way onto. And I don't expect there to be too much of that. But that's funny. I have not thought about that too much. And actually where the policies would originate, because you are using the Twitch service, so does that mean you're just bundling in Twitch's current existing policies, or if there might be something that's set by Sony or set by the publisher? I'm going to look into that and do something on that, because, yeah, that's a really interesting question. Thank you very much, Andrew. See, I was so looking forward to meeting you, and now you're actually benefiting my job.
Oh,
thank you.
You can always hire me.
That's not a bad idea. All right, Nick, do you want to bring someone else in?
Yeah, we've got Kyle Emsch here.
Hello.
And hello there, Kyle. Nick, I gotta there we go. Answer my own question. Kyle, where are you? There you are. Haha. I'm clicking.
Hi.
I want to see you on a big window.
Right now, I'm currently at Radford University in the middle of goddamn nowhere, also known as Southwestern Virginia.
Southwestern. Wow, you guys get really kind of particular about what part of. I don't think I've ever said Southwestern California. That's interesting. Is there like do the Southeastern Virginians behave that differently?
I guess. I've only been in Virginia for
matches and.
I've only been in Virginia for like 2 years, so I don't know.
Well, anyway, hey, nice to have you from Virginia. Anyway, what's on your mind, Kyle?
Well, see, recently Disney Infinity launched, and it kind of got me to thinking about the whole NFC video game thing that seems to be a bit of a fad now.
The NFC.
The near field communication, the Skylanders and Disney Infinity stuff.
Got it.
Yeah. I was kind of. I know people have been like shitting on that kind of idea, but I think it could actually work if it were a more free-to-play style game that doesn't require you to buy a $60 to $75 game. My question is.
Also, Kyle, I agree with you 100%. It's like every console or something, it comes with the thing that can read it, and that you can buy the toy, and the toy activates some kind of software that's like off in the cloud or something like that. Yes, you want it. That's one of the most like perfectly insidious ways to introduce somebody to a franchise. Anyway, back to you, Kyle.
Yeah. My question is, well, it's actually kind of two parts. The first being, how much worse do you think the whole Skylanders model will get, like Disney Infinity introducing these blind power disc things? How much worse do you think that'll get? The second being, how long, or if it's even possible for these kind of games to ever get to that true free-to-play model before the whole thing goes the way of Guitar Hero, basically?
Well, I think the problem with the free-to-play model, and this is using Disney Infinity as an example, that thing costs a lot of money. Making the toys costs a lot of money. Too much money. Yeah, putting those games together costs a lot of money. And Disney is a more traditional business, and they're not going to want to wait as long as a free-to-play model would work to start seeing a real return on that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge challenge. You might be able to get a scrappy, smaller company that might be able to pull that off, but then they don't have the marketing or the retail reach of something like Disney. So you're going to be seeing a pretty massive trade-off. In terms of the blind purchases of stuff, or even the entire Disney Infinity model, that's going to be completely dictated by how well Disney does it. If this thing takes off, you're going to see a lot of copycats, and you're going to see a lot of copycats that haven't figured out that Disney is very unique, and because it works for them does not mean it's necessarily going to work for you. Skylanders really was an amazing fluke. And I think we all forget that was a Spyro game. They decided to tie it to Spyro because they were nervous enough about it that they felt they needed to have an existing character to be able to sell into people's homes, and quickly realized that wasn't necessary. I think kids and adults like buying those toys. It's that weird collecting thing that's somehow in our DNA. And it's like, I don't think this is going to go away. They're going to figure out a way to monetize it. And as for the blind stuff, I think people are falling for that too. I don't think it's going to get worse, because I don't have a huge problem with it, unless you have a young kid who's going to keep on bothering you until you get the what he wants. But it's a way.
If I can add to that real quick.
Oh, please, by all means.
Yeah, what you saying about the blind disc and everything, I know I've seen people getting screwed over on that on Twitter already.
Yeah.
I saw Annoyed Gamer bought 10 different disc packs, and 60% of them were the same exact thing. So I know people are getting screwed over already, but I think that they strategically did that because just imagine they want kids to buy this. People are probably going to take all their discs to the schoolyard or whatever and trade them like their Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something.
Oh yeah, I
can
can totally
already
see that.
That's
envision
what I
that
was thinking
happening.
too. That something like that. And what I haven't been able to figure out is if, cause I know a couple of people too that have been seeing like, hey, I bought 10 of these and they're almost all the same. If you're seeing this kind of grouping happen in various regions of the U.S., so then you can kind of have this, I don't know, a pen pal swapping program because in the Southeast it's all like one character, but in the Northwest it's another one. I imagine also Disney, for all the evil that people like to attribute to Disney, they're also so very sensitive to their image that if this is happening and people are complaining, they tend to be kind of fast and effective to fix that. When they're using those core family-friendly characters, they don't like to have that attached to something controversial or questionable. So I imagine we'll see something get rectified if it isn't intentional in the first place.
Some people on Twitter, I think, have talked about people buying the blind boxes and putting them on the pedestal and scanning them or whatever, getting what they need out of them, and then returning them unopened back to the store, which is a pretty.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter too.
Pedestal for it to work. That's like a power up or something. That only while it's in the pedestal do you get the benefit of it.
I'm not sure actually.
If not, that was a dumb idea because the idea that it's one of the that's a horrible business model. Yeah, it's like the idea that I get my money back if I take my banana peel to the store. I mean, that's a stupid idea.
Didn't Nintendo just try that with Pokemon Rumble or something? Don't they have the little characters?
Yes, they did. And it's coming out in the U.S. in like a week.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah, that's because it's made by Umbrella. All of their games are terrible.
But I mean, admit, I don't follow the Pokemon thing. That's what I have Max Steel for.
It's like it looks like just like all players on screen, just like a button mashing old style beat 'em up or something.
Oh, yeah, it's basically
I was thinking like an N64 Rumble pack.
And no, it's Pokemon Rumble, and then they have
vibrations of your Pokeballs.
They sell the little characters just like Skylanders, and the gamepad has the built-in reader, and then you put them on there to get your characters. So
because that actually makes. I mean, that should be successful, but it sounds like from you guys that
the actual game looks really, really horrible. But
it doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have
last
to be successful, you know. And when everyone saw Skylanders for the first time, they were like, if this was Pokemon, Nintendo would have an even more infinite supply of money than they seemingly already do.
Yeah, if they would have made a good version of Pokemon and sold the characters separately, I think it would have been probably pretty successful.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and once again, to the point of Disney Infinity, I think when you do these things, you have to do them right the first time, and you just give yourself extra time, as they did with Skylanders. They've delayed that by a year to get the model right, because when you do, the benefits, as we have already seen, can be quite.
Oh yeah, I have a nephew at Skylander. He's got at least 20 plus little figurines already.
I mean, there's special Skylander toys that you can get from the Activision booth at E3. And like the pimp status I have with a little cadre of 8-year-olds is just amazing. That I'm bringing up this unique Skylanders, and I'm looking at a hunk of plastic with some grooves in it. It's just amazing how that works.
G. Jackson in the YouTube chat says if Disney rolls out Star Wars figurines for Disney Infinite, then it's over and he's in.
Oh God!
I mean,
don't they have Marvel too? Doesn't Disney own Marvel?
Yes, and I'm saying
Disney owns pretty much everything at this point.
Of Disney Infinity is what we're looking at is just the beginning, and that this thing is so set up in such an elegant way to grow and to change up the gameplay, because I would like to think that the gameplay you get from the games for Star Wars might be a little more sophisticated than what we're getting for like Cars and for Monsters Inc. And it just they have so many properties, it can go in so many directions, and that once they get to the Star Wars. Oh no, but this is the one they haven't done yet, and I have actually addressed this with some of the people at Disney Infinity. Right now, we're looking at more male-centric things. What happens when they introduce Disney princesses? Think about the
God.
box mode and Disney princesses. It is a dollhouse for. I mean, it's kind of terrifying if this thing works. That's like the revenue this could bring into Disney. And you know, to my friend John, who helped spearhead this whole initiative over Disney, I have to tip my hat. I don't know how much I'm going to play myself, but from someone who's watched the industry and watched Disney make some pretty stumbling moves into video games, this one seems pretty damn brilliant. So,
yeah, the princesses would be like Nintendogs on the DS and the pink DS.
I mean, it just works in every way.
And it's definitely part of their plan too. Like if you go watch Max Scoville's interview from E3 with the Infinity team, he brings up the Star Wars thing actually, in particular, and gets kind of a coy smile out of the dude. Definitely the furthest thing from a denial that you can.
I think yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that we can all agree on, we're not going to get John Carter.
No.
That's probably not going to happen. I think that's pretty much.
Or Lone Ranger figurines.
Yeah,
they already have those.
I still find the inclusion of the Lone Ranger very strange. I'm not a huge fan of the inclusion of Pirates of the Caribbean or Lone Ranger. Those movies skew much older, and you can start to see the marketing logic. Like, hey, let's prime them now so we can have this affinity for the franchise later down the line. It's like, you're going to make the money, so just at least, and I know it's a marketing tool, but just don't make it so damn overt. You know, I want to see Mickey Mouse. Like, I want to play around with those characters.
The classic Disney figures yet. Why haven't they done that?
Because Disney's so cautious when they trot that out. I mean, that is an old company that has some of the most important IPs and images and icons in the world. That they do not use those Disney characters flippantly. And I know we all know that they have to be discussing it, but it's all a matter of treatment, how it honors like the legacy of Walt Disney's creations, and matters like that. So, and I think we're going to see that with a lot of the things that we hold sacred. And, you know, for all the issues I have with Disney, when they do care about their things to that level, I have to kind of respect them, because I don't want to see a shoddy, like kind of, you know, like the 1980s treatment of Mickey Mouse, which is so horrific. That's why we haven't seen too much of it. And that as they do use them, they use, you know, that character and all the other ones in that universe with a great deal of care. Guys, I think that's about it for this address. It says, I know we didn't get to everybody. I really, really enjoyed this. And everyone out there, this cross-talking between people, that's the whole point of Address the Sess. So we hope to have all of you that didn't make it on, and we'll see if we can make that magic happen. Everyone say thank you to Nick.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do this again in a couple of weeks. We're getting to the point of the year where I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. We may have to do these even more frequently. If my 40-year-old ass can actually handle it. All right, everybody.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thank you.